Now, in Chicago, Sam Pitroda, chairman of Indian Overseas Congress, has highlighted the contrast between American and Indian inheritance laws. In the US, an inheritance tax mandates that a portion of wealth, often 45%, goes to the government upon death, promoting a balance between familial and public interests. However, in India, no such tax exists, allowing the entirety of wealth to pass to the heirs. Pitroda stressed the importance of debating such issues, advocating for policies that benefit broader society rather than solely serving the super rich. He emphasized the need for redistributive measures to ensure fairness and societal welfare. Let's in fact take a listen to what he had to say.
But sir, one thing which is the Prime Minister is pointing out is the promise made by the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, or in the manifesto, that if the Congress party will be voted to power, the party would conduct a survey to run a check on who possesses the wealth in the country and undertake an exercise to redistribute the same among the people.
It doesn't mean that you are going to take their wealth and give it to somebody. It means to create new policies so the concentration of wealth can be prevented. It's like Monopoly Act. Okay? It doesn't mean that I'll take your shirt away. All right? That's how do you read that? I don't understand. How can you do that? Okay? It's not physically possible to do that. But you can say the future policies would be such that this particular group cannot be into everything. There is a Monopoly Act in America also. You know, we have to make sure that few people become so rich that they begin to run government. We have to make sure that's the requirement in democracy, everywhere in the world. Nothing wrong in being rich, nothing wrong in accumulating wealth, but to what point? Let me tell you, in America, there is an inheritance tax. So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government. Now, that's an interesting law. It says, you in your generation made wealth. You are leaving now. You must leave your wealth for public. Not all of it, half of it. Which to me sounds fair. In India, you don't have that. If somebody is worth 10 billion and he dies, his children get 10 billion. Public get nothing. And law says, you get half of it, public gets half of it. So these are the kind of issues people will have to debate, discuss. I don't know what the conclusion would be at the end of the day. But when we talk about redistributing wealth, we are talking about new policies, new programs that are in the interest of the people and not in the interest of super rich only.
My colleague Manohar Kesri joins us on the broadcast to give us more details on this. Manohar, we've of course heard what Sam Pitroda had to say. He's in fact talking about the ideology of redistribution, and in fact he's spoken about inheritance tax. Give our viewers a better understanding on this.
और ऐसी स्थिति में आप देखेंगे कि संपत्ति के redistribution को लेकर के और मोनर्शिप को लेकर के पूरा पॉलिटिकल वॉर चला हुआ है। प्रियंका गांधी और मोदी दोनों का आमना सामना लगातार हो रहा है। उसके बाद अगर आप देखेंगे तो एक और बवाल खड़ा हो गया है सैम पित्रोदा के बयान से। सैम पित्रोदा जो कांग्रेस के ओवरसीज के चेयरमैन है, जिन्होंने एक अलग विवाद के लिए शंका छोड़ दिया है। उन्होंने कहा है कि अमेरिका में इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स होता है, यानी विरासत का टैक्स होता है कि कोई भी आदमी अगर करोड़ों रुपया कमाता है, 100 बिलियन कमाता है, उसके मरने के बाद उसकी संपत्ति जो है सो बच्चों को मात्र 45% दी जाती है, बाकी जो है 55% जो है वहाँ की सरकार को चली जाती है और वही सरकार उन पैसों से डेवलपमेंट का काम करते हैं और इसी का विचार जो है सो भारत में करना चाहिए। तो आप देखिए प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने जिस तरह से अटैक किया था, उन्होंने राजस्थान के बांसवाड़ा हो या छत्तीसगढ़ हो, उन्होंने कहा था कि वो आपके संपत्ति को छीनना चाहते हैं, घुसपैठियों को देना चाहते हैं और जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उन्हें देना चाहते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने ये भी बात कही थी कि उन्होंने कहा था कि आपके मंगलसूत्र भी ये छीन लेंगे। तो सीधे तौर पर अटैक था गांधी परिवार को लेकर के, क्योंकि इससे पहले राहुल गांधी ने कहा था कि हमारी सरकार जब आएगी तो हम संपत्ति का पुनर्वितरण करेंगे, रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करेंगे और आर्थिक सर्वे करवाएंगे। इसके बाद प्रधानमंत्री का ये बयान आया था। तो आप देखिए कर्नाटक में बेंगलुरु में प्रधानमंत्री का बयान का करारा जवाब देते हुए प्रियंका गांधी ने कहा कि हमारी माँ ने देश के लिए जैसे मंगलसूत्र पालन कर दिया, हमारा जो परिवार है वो लगातार देश के लिए काम किया है। इंदिरा गांधी का जिक्र तो उन्होंने किया, प्रियंका गांधी जब देखा कि इसके बैकफुट से कांग्रेस नजर आ रही है कि प्रियंका गांधी ने इमोशनल कार्ड किया और अब पित्रोदा कह रहे हैं कि अगर भारत में भी इस तरह की पॉलिसी आनी चाहिए जिस तरह से अमेरिका में है, इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स पर विचार होना चाहिए, चर्चा होनी चाहिए। क्या राहुल गांधी जब विदेश दौरे पे गए थे उसे लेकर के उन्होंने चर्चा की थी और इसीलिए उन्होंने संपत्ति का पुनर्वितरण किया, क्योंकि भारत में अब आप देखेंगे कहा जाता है कि 95% तो पैसे हैं वो मात्र 5% लोगों के पास है। तो क्या इसे लेकर के कांग्रेस एक विचार कर रही है, रणनीति बना रही है? अब ये पॉलिटिकल वाला नहीं है। लोकसभा चुनाव तो लगातार जारी है, अलग अलग चुनाव होते हैं, अब देखना होगा इसका जवाब जो है।
All right, Manohar, with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, sharing all those details with our viewers. Meanwhile, joining us at this point of time is Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. Sir, a very good morning to you and thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX. Now, in order to propel the ideology of redistribution, Sam Pitroda has taken the example of inheritance tax of the United States. If we speak about India, inheritance tax was something that was abolished in 1985. How do you then view these statements?
In America, inheritance tax is really not effective because people either form trusts or they form not-for-profit organizations and see to it that they redistribute their wealth in their lifetime so that by the time it gets to their time to pass on, there is no yield. Otherwise, this 35-40% can put a big dent on the wealth of the 1% that owns most of American assets. Now, the same thing happened in India. It was abolished in the height of socialism that was being practiced at the time, for the same reason, because it was getting no yield. So this sounds good that I will redistribute wealth, but you can do a number of things to see to it that it is not available for redistribution. So I don't see this as anything more than Congress rhetoric to try and bamboozle the poor and desperately try to get some votes, which they are not really positioned to do.
Right, sir. Absolutely. Requesting you to stay on with us. In fact, joining us at this point of time is Dr. Sharat Kohli, senior economist. So thank you so much for joining in on NewsX. Now, of course, as far as inheritance tax is concerned, according to Sam Pitroda, this is the way in order to essentially propel the ideology of redistribution. He said that, and I'm going to quote him, we are talking about new policies and new programs that are in the interest of the people and not in the interest of the super rich only. How do you view these statements? How do you view these statements that he's made?
Good morning, Sabri, and good morning to the viewers of NewsX. I think it's a ridiculously impractical idea as far as India is concerned for two reasons. one reason, of course, I support what Gautam said, that, there are a number of ways to escape this inheritance tax in so many ways. The second thing is that, there's a difference between United States and India at this point of time. In United States, the concept of family, where passing on, where the children stay with their parents and grandparents, and then, the children, they pass on. So that concept is very much there in India. There is a closely knit family, whereas in America, that's not the case. The moment a child reaches grade 10, you're asked to go and live alone. I mean, many of the children, they don't even remember the names of their parents. So I think in India, this idea is impractical, socially not acceptable. And Congress is desperately trying, because Congress at this point is very sure that there is no way it can come back to power. So it's trying everything possible, under its imagination. Even if the imagination is wild, it is trying that imagination to see that it's able to garner votes and stir the minds of the poor, where they feel that probably some Robin Hood kind of policy would be done and they would probably get the wealth. I think Congress has forgotten that, there are so many other ways to ensure and check this inequality of income and wealth. I think it is completely forgotten. And Congress also forgot, Asabri, that in 1991, it was their own Prime Minister, late Narasimha Rao, who started the liberalization process. It's only after the liberalization process that, and this is seen across all the countries, when we see this inequality of income and wealth. So there are so many ways you check corruption. You can do it by social security. You can do by checking gender inequality. You can do by doing some land reforms. But, to be starting to distribute, I think you will see, all the people who make a little bit of money here, they'll be running out of the country. And we should also not forget, Asabri, a very important point, that most of the employment generators are also the wealth creators, and vice versa. The wealth creators are employment generators. So, the kind of unemployment it will spread. And they should also go and ask poor whether all the poor in this country, now this is a very important point I'm going to make, because I've been talking to a lot of people in villages, Asabri, ever since this ridiculous announcement was made. Well, most of the poor says that we don't want to live on a khairat. There's a word called khairat, that we don't want to live on distributed wealth. We'll rather, it's better to teach a man how to catch a fish rather than giving him a cup of fishes, which is eventually going to finish. So I think it's better to train people, focus on education, healthcare, skill development, where equal opportunities are available for the poor. I think Sam Pitroda endorsing this inheritance tax for India is just an extension of Rahul Gandhi's remark. And I think I had gone on to your show and I expressed my pardon for saying that, but I don't hesitate in reiterating the fact that Rahul Gandhi has declared 22 crores of his own wealth on the internet while filing his nomination. I have made a list of 100 people where he should go and distribute 22 lakhs. Please let charity begin from home, Asabri.
Right, sir. Absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, sharing your details, in fact, your insights with our viewers. In fact, joining us at this point of time is Mr. R.P. Singh, BJP spokesperson. Sir, a very good morning to you and thank you so much for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX. Now, of course, we've heard the statements that have been made by Sam Pitroda. He is advocating inheritance tax in India. How does the BJP respond to these statements that have been made?
Well, the statement can't be seen in isolation. This is further to what Manmohan Singh said long back, that the first right over the resources of the country is of minorities, specifically Muslims. And then Mr. Rahul Gandhi, this election in Hyderabad, has stated that they'll do a wealth survey. And even in the manifesto, they're indicating on similar lines. This clearly shows that what is in their mind. They want to take away the wealth of the majority and then distribute it among the minority.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.